everyone, welcome to yet another exciting episode with us here on Food Clinic, your #1 cooking show on TV. My name is Blue and I'm your host for today. So today we are going to the southeastern part of Nigeria and we are going to be making one of their popular dishes, oha soup. So when we come back from this break, I'm going to be introducing you to all our ingredients for this recipe. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, people. So right now it's time to introduce you to all our ingredients for today's recipe. So right here, most importantly, we have our oha leaves, and here we have our cow skin, we have our beef here, we have our pepper already blended, we have onions, we have our palm oil, we have our salt, and we have fish, dried fish. We also have here our seasoning cubes, we have our crayfish, and also we have here our thickener. This is actually cocoyam flour. Most people prefer to use achi, some use ofo, and also people also use cocoyam. You can either cook and pound and use, or you use the flour just like I'll be using today. So let's get down to business straight. First of all, I'm going to wash my hands before I start with the preparation. So right now I'm going to be washing my hands before I go into the preparations proper. So I'm set. First and foremost, I'm going to be washing our beef, and we are going to be putting that on fire first before we follow up with other procedures. So aside beef, you can also use snail for this recipe. You can use any kind of protein at all. You can even use fresh fish for this recipe, fresh catfish, any kind of fish that you want to use. Any kind of protein it's okay for this particular recipe. It doesn't select at all. So I'll add our pepper. Just little, and of course our onion. It's washed already, but I'll wash again. So in making oha soup, when it comes to the cocoyam aspect, which is the thickener, you can either use the normal cocoyam that everyone knows. You just cut that into pieces, peel the back off, and then you cook. When it's done, you pound, and then you add it to your soup. But if you don't have time for that, you can just buy the cocoyam flour and then you use that. Some people actually prefer to use achi as well as their thickener. So our meat is on fire already. Now I'll go into other things. I'll have to pick my oha leaves. So let me just clear this place up so I can do that freely. So I'll just pick my leaves. So I've seen people actually cook oha soup with uziza leaves. After adding their uziza leaves, then they add oha to it. But that's something I haven't tried before. This is the recipe I know, but I know people have different recipes of preparing oha soup, but this is the particular one I'm used to and I like also. But of course that is something I'm going to try someday. Of course there are different ways of making a particular dish. Different people have different ways of doing theirs, so once in a while you can just decide to try what other people do and just give it a try, give it a shot and see what it looks like. but today I'm going to be using just oha leaves alone. Like I said earlier, this soup is actually from the eastern part of Nigeria, but of course it's a household name. A lot of people in Nigeria love oha soup aside those from the eastern part of the country. So oha soup is very popular here in Nigeria. Like all tribes eat oha soup from every region. Everyone loves oha soup. It's a very nice recipe actually, so I think it's something you can try if you've not tried before. This is one soup that you really love to try, of course. So I'm almost done with this, and then I'll just wash it, and then I'll chop it into big chunks. So I'm just going to cut this into big chunks, and I'll be using my hands. You can decide to use knife, but most of them, I mean the people who own this particular delicacy, I've seen them use their hands to do this, because it has to be in big chunks. It doesn't have to be tiny, the way you cut okazi or the way you cut your ugu leaves and any other kind of vegetable. So this has to come in big chunks, and that's why I'm using my hands to do this. Quite easy, of course. It doesn't have to be tiny, like I said, so you just cut it into big chunks, and then your oha is ready to be used for your soup. So I'm almost done with this. Our meat is boiling already, and I'll be checking that out soon. But before that, I'll be cutting our pomo, our cow skin, and also washing my dried fish. So I'm done with this. The chunks are quite big, and that is how it should be actually. So I'm going to wash my cow skin now. Wash properly and take off every sand from it.
That's yummy.
So I'm washing my cow skin, making sure I get rid of all the sands in it before I use. This comes with a lot of sand, so you have to wash properly and carefully so as to get rid of the sand, so you don't end up eating sand in your soup. So I'm just going to do this quickly, and then after this I'm going to chop into small pieces. So I'll just wash properly before I chop into pieces. So I'm done washing our cow skin, and now it's time to chop it into smaller bits. So I'm going to be using my chopping board for this. I don't want to use my hands so I don't get caught in the process. So I'll just cut into smaller pieces. You can make it big, it depends on what you want. So this is it. I prefer it this way, so as you're taking one mold of semo or whatever you're using to eat it, you can just pick up cow skin and then put in your mouth. I'm done with this already. So I'll move over to washing my dried fish. Dried fish actually comes with a lot of sand, so most times we actually use salt to scrub the back of the fish to get rid of the sand, or you can soak it in hot water to get rid of the sand. But I'm going to be using salt to scrub it. I'll just put a pinch of salt and then use it to scrub the back of my fish. Like I said, if you're not using salt, you can use hot water. Just boil hot water and then soak it in the hot water for probably 2 minutes, and then get it off and then wash, and then all the sand will be gotten rid of. Like I said, some people actually use just fish alone to make oha soup, which is fresh fish. Maybe you just want something different from what every other person does. You can just use fresh catfish to prepare your oha soup, or any fresh fish at all, just that alone, and just make it look like fisherman soup. But of course, you know it's oha soup, but in a fisherman way. So there are different methods and different ways of preparing this particular delicacy. So you must not use one method. You can use any other type of method. Just try different methods. So I'm done washing my fish with the salt to get rid of the sand from the skin, because the skin comes with lots of sand while drying this fish. There's always sand on it. So I'm done washing my fish, and my meat is really boiling, getting cooked. But you know it's cow meat, so you have to let it cook properly, or else it will be really hard that you can't even chew. So when this gets a little bit soft, I can now add my cow skin to it. So now I want to mix my thickener with palm oil. That's my cocoyam. I'm going to mix this with palm oil. You can just put it into the soup like that, but I decide to use palm oil to mix my thickener. So that's what I want to do now. Like I said earlier, you can use cocoyam flour, or you can use your achi. You can also use ofo. So you can also use your normal cocoyam, fresh cocoyam. All you need to do is just to cook it, and then you pound and you use. So I'm going to be using this today. So I'll just mix it with oil, and then when it's time to put in the soup, I just add it to my soup. This is quite a very easy recipe. There's nothing hard about this. This is the mixture. You can use achi, you can use ofo, you can also use this, and you can also use your fresh cocoyam. You boil, and then when it gets soft, you peel off the back, and then you pound and use for your soup. So this is it. This is what it looks like after mixing with palm oil. So I'm done with this. This is what it looks like. So as you can see, I'm done mixing our cocoyam flour. So right now it's time for me to check our meat. I think this is soft already. So now I'm going to be adding our cow skin and also my fish, and then I'll just let this cook for a few minutes, and then I'll go into cooking proper, where I'll have to add all my other ingredients, especially thickener, and then last thing that will come in will be our leaf, which is our oha leaf. So that is the last thing to come into this recipe. Welcome back, people. So right now it's time to add our remaining ingredients for this recipe. As you can see, our fish, meat and pomo has come to a boiling point already, and everything is set. So now I'm going to be adding our crayfish to this, and of course I'll add pepper as well, just a little so it doesn't get too peppery. And then I'm going to be adding one more seasoning cube to this. So let me test for salt. perfect. So right now I'm going to be adding our mixture, which is our thickener. So this will come in now. So I use enough palm oil to mix this, so I don't necessarily need to add more palm oil to this. But of course, if you wish to add palm oil to your own recipe, even after mixing this with palm oil, you can do that. I think the palm oil in this is enough to cook my soup, so I'm just going to leave it at that. So I'm going to let this cook for a minute. I'll just keep stirring a little, and then our oha leaves will come in. This already looks thick already. Our thickener did the job perfectly well. It's thick already, so a few minutes from now I'm going to be adding our oha leaves, and then our soup will be ready. So while this is on, I'll just put water on fire for my Semo Vita. I said earlier on that we're going to be having this with Semo Vita, so I need to put my water on fire for it. Of course, you can use any kind of swallow for this particular recipe. You can use fufu, you can use pounded yam, you can use even amala. Whatever you decide to use, it's actually fine. So my water is on fire already for my semo, and now it's time to add my oha leaves to this. This is looking nice already. So my oha leaf comes in next. This looks very nice already, very colorful, and of course the aroma is so inviting. So don't go anywhere. When we come back from this break, it will be time to give you a honest review about today's recipe, oha soup and Semo Vita. Stay tuned. Welcome back, people. As you can see, the moment of truth is here. So sitting pretty here is our oha soup and our Semo Vita. So right now it's time to do justice to this and then give you a honest review about today's recipe. My hands are washed already, so let's dig in. Looks really nice, and of course the aroma is really inviting. Yummy, really yummy. Everything is giving, I can say. One more. So I must say, this recipe is quite delicious, and this is something you can actually prepare for your friends, your family, your loved ones. Quite affordable. The ingredients are not much, just your oha leaves, your proteins, your palm oil, and then your thickener. That's all, and this recipe would be ready. So we've come to the end of today's episode of Food Clinic. I remain your humble host, Blue. Until I come your way again next time, please don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles displaying on your screen right now. Bye for now.